Very good morning to you all, and welcome to the Web Design Induction Program, HND 54 and HND 55 students. So in today's discussion, or in today's session, I'm hoping to discuss some matters or certain things regarding web design. Okay, so let's talk about some common things. I wish most of you can switch on your microphones and speak, because it is not more like a presentation or more like a lecture session. I would like to conduct this one very interactively with your feedback as well as your comments as well. Right, so feel free to talk as much as possible, and if you do have any doubts, speak to me as well, right? Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, mainly the session will be conducted in English, very simple English. Most of you are able to understand, and if necessary only in Sinhala or Tamil, I will be doing a small summary, so please don't expect a huge part in Sinhala or Tamil today. So you have to get ready with going on with the subjects, lessons, because the lecture sessions will be conducted using English medium, right? All right, if you are thinking about English, I think by the time I was doing about presentation skills, I asked you the importance of English language, as well as gave you some ideas where you can learn them as well. So now I think it's been around 3-4 weeks back, so you should have got some idea about that as well, right? Okay, let's get started. Right, so we're going to first of all discuss some terminology. So terminology means some terms, some words which is related to the web design field, or in common, some words that we're going to discuss. These are not very technical terms. They are not very difficult or very detailed terms. They're going to be simple terms, right? Okay. So feel free to talk, because I'm going to ask you some questions, or I'm going to ask you some people to tell that, right? Okay, who can tell me what do you mean by internet? Any idea what do you mean by internet? If you keep on silence, it's going to be just a listening show, because this lesson is conducted for your people and your participation is very important. If you're going to keep on silence just listening, then I will be also really bored. Like I feel like just talking to my computer screen. I don't feel you, because you people haven't even switched on your webcams, that I don't see you people, as well as if there is no interaction, means I'm just going to read these things and I'm going to finish off. You want that to happen, or you want to speak up? Anybody? No one knows what is internet.
Network of networks.
Okay, who is that? Ishani.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Networks of networks, right. Okay, good. Some more answers?
Computer network.
Computer network. Further, tell more people. Only 2 people.
All over the world connected.
All over the world connected, right. Good, right. Fine. If I ask you what you can do with internet, you will tell a huge list of things that you are able to do with the internet, right? So basically the internet means it's a vast collection of loosely connected networks of networks, which is not owned by a single person, or not owned by any single person, right? So this internet started nearly 50-60 years back, and it was mainly used for military purpose. I don't want to teach you the whole history. Then gradually the internet was moved to the research area, where among universities and all it was widely used. Later in the early 1990s, then it became very popular among businesses, because in 1995 they introduced something called the World Wide Web. That what you see now as the internet or the web, what you see that was introduced in 1995. Some of you might not have been born even. So then what happened is it became widely open for the businesses, So for the business community, so it had a boom, that it has a very huge and a very quick growth in that. So, and of course the telecommunication sector, as well as the microcomputer, that means the computing sector, both were improvising, new things were coming up and they were merged together. So that is the era where we got IT, and now we have the ICT, information communication technology, right? Okay, so part of the internet, World Wide Web is there. World Wide Web. So I will be showing some samples for you as well, right? So what do you mean by the World Wide Web, right? Okay, tell me now, my presentation is running in full screen. Anyways, I'm going to take up my browser window. Just one of you quickly tell me, do you see my browser window on the screen, or you still see my presentation?
You can see your browser, sir.
Okay, Buddha, right. Just listen now. Now, now I'm using the Brave browser for some reason. You can use any browser of your choice to browse the World Wide Web. So in the World Wide Web, what we have is, because, you know, if you take the second terminology is the World Wide Web. So the World Wide Web is a vast collection of websites. Okay, so for example, if you go to a website like, let's go to a Sri Lankan website like, let's say if you go to the ikman.lk website, so that you see the home page of the ikman.lk website here, right? So this is just one website. Later we will discuss what is a website. So just take a look at it only. That. So I'm using the www or worldwide facility of the internet in order to browse the websites. So I have visited one website. Let's open another website. This time we will go to the Toyota company website. So we are in the Toyota website now. Okay, so the thing is here, this is another website. Okay, I think maybe my browser is blocking certain things, scripts. That's why it's not loading, right? So I'm using a secure browser, Brave browser. Right now you can see the website has loaded, and you see relevant information about the Toyota company, cars and things. You mainly see that. So this is a different website. This is a different website. You can even go to another website if you like. You can go to whatever you like, right? Let's go to something like bcs.org website. It's another website that will load up, right? Okay, so you can go to another website like PSN. Since you are doing HND, you can go to the PSN website as well, right? So some things won't load because all the scripts I have blocked in the website. So that is why it's not properly loading. So what I'm trying to show you is I am visiting different websites, right? With different websites. So let's take one particular website like this PSN website. If you take the PSN website is a collection of web pages. Okay, it is a collection of web pages. I am doing a small introduction, right? So you can see that I am just showing you a website here. A website is a collection of web pages. Now once you are landing, or once you have landed in PSN website, now if you are interested in knowing about something, then you have to like let's say I'm a teacher now, I want to go under educators section. So let's say this discover teaching material. So if I hit on that, right, so it says what do I like to, right, let's say do we have Sri Lanka, right? So South Africa, let's choose a country. Just we'll choose another country. It's taking time, children. Let's say United States, right? So things are coming up. So let's click on higher education. I'm clicking on links or buttons. Then I am getting relevant web pages loaded, and each web page is having information. these web pages are having information. So you can see the information is presented in different forms. Now you can see this is the logo. It is a picture. There you can see here there is an image they are using. Here there are some text. There are different types of text. Maybe this is a subheading, this is a main heading, this is a paragraph text. This is a button, at the same time it's a link. These are again drop down menu items, right? So you can access them. There is a search option available here. Now in one web here there are some more images they are using. So what they are trying to show, or in a one particular website, what we do get is we get information. In a web page you have collection of information. The information can be presented in many forms, like, so for example, if you go, I think this is a background video clip, it's been disabled. Please, if I turn it off it will work, I guess. Yeah, it's working now. Scripts are working. So this is about the BCS website that is also having pictures and other things, so that you can browse and get an information or idea about that, right? So okay, so let's go back to our discussion then. So we talked about what is internet. Okay, what do you mean by internet? We talked, right? Then we talked about the World Wide Web. World Wide Web is a collection of websites. The websites can be owned by individuals, companies, organizations, even governments. Okay, so it can be owned by people like those. So World Wide Web is nothing but a collection of websites. It's a collection of huge amount of millions and millions of websites owned by individuals, businesses, as well as governments. Right, so if you take one website contains web pages. A website is a collection of web pages, right? Each web page, that's what a little while ago I just showed you, each web page is a collection of information. Each web page is a collection of information, right? So that is the basic thing that you need to know, right? So the next thing is we need to understand, if you take a website, right? So the general idea I just gave you about internet, World Wide Web, website and web page. Now if you take the other part, now since we're going to have or you're going to learn web designing in the course, right? Anyways, you're going to do web design and development in the first semester, and in the third or fourth semester you're going to do application development. So you will be doing a full website, so the front end, back end, everything you're going to build. So in that manner, if you take a look at this one, a website, that is right here I have put down here, you can see I have mentioned it as website. You can see website also called a web application. You will understand why, because if you take a website nowadays, it is not just a matter of a static web page. That means you don't find just a page which has information in it. Just it doesn't have only information in it. It has more to it. It has more information than just one single web page. So it is doing a lot of processing as well. So that is better, or it is more accurate to call it as web applications. That is why I use that term. Right, now let's take a look at what you mean by a front end and a back end. Now when it comes to web designing, so you need to think about yourself as a web developer now, because anyways in the program, that means in the HD program, you're going to learn web design. So by the time you are attempting your assignment, you will be given a role like you are a freelance web developer, or you are a newly joined junior web designer at a firm. So there's a project has come, you're going to do that one. So you have to understand that what do you mean by these terms and actually what they do. Okay, Right. So feel free to talk to me during the discussion, children. So don't just wait there. If you do have a doubt, just raise your hand or just talk to me. Switch on your microphone. Right. All right. Anyways, the laptop screen is a little bit far away from there, so the text it's a bit difficult for me to see from here. No worries. You just raise your hand so I can see. Then I can ask you to tell, or else you can just switch on your mic and speak. Right. Let's come back to the discussion. Now, front end and back end. Now you can see here a website here, what you see here, web application, is divided into two parts. Right. You can see the one part is the front end, the other part is the back end. You can see I have just drawn a line like this and divided from here, putting a front end part and a back end part. The front end is also called the presentation layer. That is the one which will contain the user interface. I will be introducing, or I'll be showing you that with examples, right? Okay, before we talk about the back end, let's take a look at what do you mean by the front end and what do you mean by the presentation layer. Both are the same. Actually, in the presentation layer or in the front end, what you have is the user interface. So if you go to a website, it could be any website. Let's take one of our websites. Right, so it has a user interface. I'll show you a website that I have built. So let's take a look at this one. Star Furnitures. Because my site will come at the beginning. So this website I built for one of my client. Okay, so they are mainly dealing with this lot of things they are dealing with. So these are the main categories of products that they are selling, and the photo shoot of these items also, these are all my photographs. I have shot these images of the bedroom sets and the dining hall sets. This teak menu, fully all the shots I have taken. So these, you can take a look at them, right? So all these things were I have taken from my DSLR camera as a photography project. I did that for them as part of the web development project. Apart from that, children, why I'm sharing this one is because this website I built, so it's easy for me to discuss the things, what is there and how I have built it. Now again, coming back to the front end or the user interface. Now when I am visiting this particular website, if I am looking for particular product, let's say I'm looking for a steel cupboard for the office, so there is a menu you can see here called office furnitures. So I'm going to put my mouse pointer over that because office furniture is the main category. Under the office furniture, there are some subcategories appearing like this. So I am going to select one of it. You can see steel cupboard is there. So if I hit on that, I would be able to see the available steel cupboards, right? Some of them they have put the prices, some of them they haven't put, but the model and the dimensions and other details they have provided. Right, so if I'm further interested in a particular one, I want to see a larger image of it. Let's say I want this one. I'll click on this. Once I hit on that, it comes and it loads like that. So the large picture loads. I think the scripts are disabled for this. Right, so that's why it's not loading properly. Otherwise, there is a small fancy box animation is there, so we can still see them like this. Okay. So right, so again talking about the front end or the user interface website. I am the user now. I am interacting with the website. How am I interacting with the website? It could be by clicking on the links. clicking on product images. If I have a search facility, I will type my keywords and I will be searching the website as well. For example, now watch, I have an inquiry, I want to contact the business. I can click on contact us button or link. The contact us form is given now. So now I can fill these information. This is another way of interacting with the website rather than just using the mouse clicking links. Now I'm going to fill my information. Let's click this one as right like this. So we'll type a number, right, and let's say right. If I type the details here and if I say I'm not a robo, then once I hit the submit button, this information I have entered here will go to the client. That means to the business, they will receive this as an email. Okay, so but in the front end, I am interacting with the website via the user interface. So this particular screen, or what you see on the screen now, is called the front end. This is part of your website. So I'm going to hit on the submit button. After a couple of seconds, you will get a confirmation saying that message has been successfully sent actually. So if the company wants, they will be contact me shortly. Again, in the front end or in the user interface, I have got the confirmation of what has actually happened to my clicking that button, submit the query. What has happened, it has given me a response on the user interface. In the front end, it has given. So this is what the front end is, or the presentation layer. This is what it does. It displays the visible or the visual part of the website. Okay, right. I hope you would have got a clear idea about what is a front end or the presentation layer. Both are same thing, right? Both are same things. Now once we go back once we go back to the presentation slide, now you can see there is a part called, second part is the back end. For actual learning purpose, I have divided that into two categories, which is application layer and data layer. I am not going to individually talk about these things. I'm going to give you the big picture about what you mean by the back end. Right. Now you can see if you go to the website, right, let's go to a different website. Let's turn off these things. We don't need them, right? All right. Now let's say we are in the ikman.lk website and you are looking for a house for a rent, right? House for a rent. So right, house, you type for you this is your search keywords. I just typed these three words in the search box or the search bar. Then I'm going to hit the search button, or I can press the enter key on my keyboard. What you see now on the screen is the user interface, front end. So when I click the search button, actually the information that you have entered or typed in the front end or the presentation layer is going to get taken into the back end, which is not visible to you. That part is not visible to you because now I am in my YouTube studio now. In my YouTube studio now I have the internet connection here. That is, my laptop is in front of me, and actually in my laptop I do not have the ikman.lk website. Earlier I told you ikman.lk website, just like that website, other websites are there in the World Wide Web. Actually this website is hosted in a different place. It's in a remote place. Actually it is in Morotua, because .lk, physically these domains are available in Sri Lanka, .lk ones. So currently I am in Maunella now. So when I hit the search button, actually through the telecommunication medium, it has to contact the website. This information I have fed here, house for rent, words need to be sent to the back end. There will be more programs, there will be more pages created to handle this incoming traffic, incoming inputs and user inputs, user search queries and everything the back end can handle. That is also programmed. In order to program them, you can use languages like PHP, okay, ASP.NET, C#, Python, Ruby on Rails. You can use different types of technologies to do that. Latter part of the presentation, I have some parts of them I can show you and I can explain you, right? Okay, that is the back end. So back end, actually you do not see actually what will happen. So when I hit this button, as if information is available on my computer itself, this result of this search is going to get displayed in my screen. Now I'm going to hit the search now, see what's going to happen. So just click the search button now and you can see this is an advertisement. Apart from that, this you can see house for rent in Battaramulla. Likewise, things are coming because we did not filter the search to a particular place, so it is showing all around Sri Lanka. It is showing the houses which are for rent. It is showing, right? So that is the back end has searched the information what I wanted to search actually, and it has come up with some results, and that result has been again shown on the presentation layer to the front end. So always the back end receives the queries or what the user really wants or what the user triggers from the presentation layer. It is taken to the back end and the back end will process that. Everything cannot be processed by application layer, children. Back end contains application layer as well as data layer. Data layer means the database part is there. MySQL database or Oracle database, like web-enabled databases will be there. Information are stored there. So application layer will contact data layer. It will browse the information from there. It will take all the necessary information. It will give a nice looking structure. It will make it look like a web page, and that web page will be sent back to the presentation layer. It is going to be sent to the presentation layer or the front end. So I am the user now here. I think you can see my webcam as well. So I am the user now. I see the details on my screen. So I am happy with the search results. So I might be further engaged with there. Let's say there's a house in Nogegoda. So I'm going to click on that. So let's click on this one. Again, the backend is contacted. Further information about that advertisement is taken. The full details about the advertisement is sent back to the front end or to the presentation layer. User seeing the information via the user interface, front end, presentation layer. Hope you understand what do you mean by front end and back end, right? So those who understood, can you raise your hand please? I just gave you a simple understanding of front and back end means what it is. So actually, okay, some people are raising hand, right? Okay. And actually children, you will be learning these things when you come to the lessons, especially when you come to web design and development. You will learn the front end development. You're going to learn in full. Then when you go to the third and fourth semesters, sometimes we do the subject in third, sometimes we do the subject in third semester, sometimes we might do it to you in fourth semester. So anyways, once you come to the advanced semesters, you're going to learn how to do the back-end development, okay? Since I am in my laptop, I might have one or two web apps which I have developed for the students or for my client. I will see during the discussion. If necessary, I will show you. There is a place where we're going to talk about PHP as well, right? Okay. Okay, you can put your hands down, children, and if you do have doubts, please feel free to talk. You can ask doubts in any language that you prefer in order to keep things simple and everybody for you to understand. I am using very simple English, so please try to understand. I am speaking at a very slow pace so that you can get what I am saying. Still, if you do not understand, you can still ask the doubts in Tamil or Sinhala. I will be explaining the doubts in Tamil or Sinhala. Don't feel or don't hesitate to ask any doubts or any questions. Okay, right. So give me one moment. I will pause the recording and I will get the right. We discussed what do you mean by front end and what do you mean by back end. Actually, the back end consists of application part and the data part. So together it is called the back end. We can take a very simple example which you already know. Maybe day-to-day life you use this one, the Google search engine, right? So if you go to the google.com, it is though it is a search engine, it also has a web appearance. You can see this is the front end of the Google search engine. You can type the keywords that you like to search about, right? So let's say Sri Lanka. You want to find out about Sri Lanka climate. So you type Sri Lanka, then space climate and related article, information, questions answered, all the things are coming up. So you can look into the links and you can again engage with the website. That is again with the front end you are doing. In the back end, it is searching all the details, right? You know, Google is a very powerful one. You can do a lot of things. Like for example, if you want to find information from a particular website, you type site, then you type a colon like this, not a semicolon, colon, and you type the website name. Let's say www.ikman.lk. Then we will type let's say guitar, okay, for sale, right? Let's search like that, and you can see that information about guitars searched in ikman.lk and presented. You can see all the links are from ikman.lk website. Okay, all the links are from ikman.lk website, right? So even you can go for image search, then all the things are coming, related ones coming. Okay, right, so it's coming like that, right? Fine, let's get back. Right, so I hope you would have got a good understanding about what do you mean by front end and back end. If you do have doubts, just ask me. Then students, let's go to the next step. We're going to again have a discussion on this. So when you want to have a website developed, no, just like any software application that you develop, software project that you do, web applications or websites also need to be developed in stages, right? So these stages can vary from like organization to organization sometimes, but commonly if we can put them into 5 sections, right? Software development also has sections. Mainly it has 5 sections like analysis, design, code and implement, test, review and maintenance. There are 5 steps. Now here, when it comes to stages of web development, now we can understand a web development project in these 5 stages as well. Okay, right? Definitely make sure that you have to understand. Just one second, there's a doubt has come. About the front end and back end. I hope that's what it is, what she's asking. Yeah. Okay, what you see on the screen in the what is presented to you in the at the browser screen is what is basically known as the presentation layer in the front end. Behind the scene, all the actions which are taking place, not in your computer, in the cloud actually, or in the web server, it is happening and the result is coming back to the front end. So what is happening beyond your computer, behind the scene of your presentation layer or in the user interface is the backend. Yes. Let's proceed with this part, right? So when it comes to the stages of web development, the very first part is going to be the concept. Okay. Now, what do we have to build? What type of a website is needed? There's a question called what. So for concept, you can talk about what are we building, right? Now, if you are a web developer, now you are not going to build websites for fun, right? So you're going to build a website for a commercial purpose. So a client will be there, a person who is going to hand over a web development job to you. He or she is going to be there. So they will basically tell their requirements. For example, little while ago I showed a website which I did for one of my client. So their basic requirement was to exhibit or to showcase their products to the general public. So via the web medium, people should be able to search their stock and the products, and once they are interested in, they can contact and continue the business further. So that's the main purpose of them having the website. So that's the concept here. So what actually is needed? So coming up with the systems specification is what basically comes under concept. Concept means what do we have to build? What we have to build is what is coming under concept. Okay, so I'm just talking in a very general and a very high level only, because I can't go into very detail because it will take up a lot of time. Now it already around 50 minutes have gone, right? Next part is about design. Right, now once you know what you have to build, what you actually need, next you need to know how you're going to do that. So there should be a way of actually solving the problem. How am I going to do this part? So there is a part which is called the designing. So please remember, when you use the word design here in software development, also the second stage we say it is design or designing. Now please understand that design means here not the sitting with the computer with the tools and all making the website. That is not what we say about design here. When we say design here, it is the solution for the problem. We're going to give a solution for the problem. That particular part is known as the design. Okay, that part is known as the design. Okay, you'd have seen no, I just have my iPhone 5 here, right? So this is the regular phone that I use, right? So you know, this particular has a design. This has a design, right? This is the final product that you see. But you know, the home button is here, you can see. So the fingerprint scanner is built into the home button itself. So what you will do is, you will be simply placing a thumb there and pressing this one. What will happen is, by the time you are pressing that one, the fingerprint scanner also gets scanned and you are inside your phone. That is possible, right? And you can see the size of the screen. Nowadays the big screens phones are coming, so it is just in the reach of your thumb. I think you can see that, right? See, I can access anywhere of the phone. A regular person's thumb is enough to access that. So the screen size is designed in such a way that you can access the whole screen. These are designs, solution for the problem. Right, now let's say I want to take a selfie like this, or I want to take a photograph like that. So you know, if I put this one to the camera mode, and if I hold the phone like this, and if I press the button, it will take a photo. I think you heard the sound, right? If I want to take a photo, by pressing here, I'm not using the other hand. I want to just take a selfie. Let's say I want to take a selfie from here. I think you hear the sound. right? That is possible. So those are built in. So in the range, while you are holding the phone like this, if you are holding it in your left hand with your thumb, you can increase the volume or decrease the volume. If you are holding with the other hand, with your index finger, you can increase or decrease the volume. So just I'm showing there is a way how they have built the things, right? Okay, for a problem, solutions can be given, right? So that is what is called design. So coming up with a solution for the problems, right? So fine. I can show you, but I'll have to stand up and adjust my webcam. Otherwise, I wish I could show you. In my studio also, there are certain things that I have built here. These this neon bulb light, like blue color bulbs and all the things I built with the PVC stand and everything. I have built it. It's adjustable, fully adjustable. It's fully portable. I want something like that. I built it. Okay, this lantern over here, this is also built. Okay, so I built it. So it is actually a night bulb is glowing inside that. So I want a design, like I want that kind of a look and feel I want inside here. That is the solution I came up with. This there is a way I found out to hide the wire here. So actually the wire is coming from top, but you can't see that. There is a way I have done that. So for the problem, coming up with a solution is what is basically known as designing, right? So once the customer tells you what is the requirement, you will be coming up with what actually need to be built, how things need to be done, actually what the customer is actually asking. You can give as a solution. That is what is you're going to come up with the designing part. Okay, right, let me see what we have in the next slide. Right, so the designing part. So when you want to do designing, children, I just want to show you what sort of things that we do in the designing, right? So in the designing we do a lot of things. Okay, right, I can show you I'll show you something called, we do something called I will teach you this one. Wireframe designs we do for websites. Wireframes we do. Let me show you a wireframe and discuss with you. It's much easy. Let's take an easy one for discussion. Right, let's take this one. If you take a look at this particular page here, let's see whether we can get the original picture loaded there. It seems it's not coming, but you can see here a website can be built. This is a plan, like, so you're going to say where are we going to put the logo, where are we going to put the navigation bar, where are we going to put the animations, advertisements, where it's going to come, left side big navigation bar going to come. All those things you can specify. This is like a blueprint. This is just like the mold. This is just like the house plan that you draw before you build the house. So for the website you can do this one. This is part of designing. Now after you do this design, maybe you want to show this one to your client. Actually you say this is how the website homepage is going to come. Are you happy with the places where the information is appearing? So he might give you some suggestions. Okay, homepage, these are the information is there, but I want this information also to be there. For example, showroom should be able to locate it from the homepage itself. So a Google map is needed somewhere. So that is his input. So after showing this one, you can have that in your design. This is at this stage, you have not started building the website actually using a language like HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You haven't started to build it. You are still designing it. That means you are solving the problem or how it can be done. You are coming up with the solution. Okay, this is one aspect of the designing I showed. I'll show you one more. There is one called mood boards that we create. So if you go for a mood board, let's take this particular one. It's a good example. A mood board is showing the entire website's colors, fonts and other elements at a glance. So by looking at this particular image in the screen, you can get a picture, or you can get an idea that how the headings going to come, how the subheadings going to come, buttons, how do they going to look, what are the major colors that I'm going to have in my website, what type of graphics I'm going to have in my website, how the HTML links going to look in the website. At a glance, you can see and you can understand by looking at this particular picture. So as a web designer, you will be designing a mood board, something like this, and you can show this one to your client, and you can ask, do you like the color palette, or do you like the color combination? They say things are okay, but I think red and orange is not so good. Shall we go with something like a blue tone? So if they really don't like the color tone here, you can what you can do is you can switch the color tones, and you can go for different type of a design, right? So there are plenty of mood boards available on the net. You can just browse them and see them, right? So you can simply see them. There are a lot of things available. From a distance, it will roughly look like a web page, but they are not web pages. They basically show what are the text, what are the graphics, how do they look like, right? So that is what basically a mood board is, right? Then you want to show how the navigation of your website is going to be placed. That means from home page, what are the other pages you can see. There's other things you can do, something called site maps you can design. A website site map, this is also a design document. We'll take a simple one. For example, it says here the home page is there, then other relevant major sections are there. If this is your products, under products main categories are coming, right? In the footer, what other things can be accessed. So what do you call a site map is also useful. There are different site maps you can make use of, or you can see under what page information can be organized, or how to access the information in the website via using the links you can make use, right? Okay, right. Children, do you get any background noise? The birds shouting, or that's the person is shouting at the road? Do you hear any sounds, children? One person, can you quickly give me a feedback? Are you people there? Are you listening?
No, sir. We can't hear any noises.
There is a bird shouting. Do you hear that? You don't hear that, right?
No, sir.
Okay. It's pretty heavy. It's shouting really heavy, but fine. Never mind. We will continue. Thanks for your update, Pata. Right. So that is about the design. So you can do a lot of other designs as well, right? So I don't want to make it too complicated for you people. There are things like personas are there we develop. We can develop templates, right? Templates also we can develop. After the mood board is done, web templates we can get. So exactly with that color combination, how the website is going to look like. Let's say this is the website that you are looking for. So you can design this one using a tool like Illustrator, or you can use a tool like Photoshop, or any other tool that you are familiar with. You can simply build the web template and show this to your client. So if your client is happy with this one, then you can further start using, or you can go for the next step, which is building the website. Okay, building the website. So that is possible for you to do, right? So that is basically about this designing part, right? Okay. So next part is the coding style, coding step, right? You can do the coding, then you can do the testing and launching. So we will see what you mean by coding, or we can even call that one as implementing, which means once you have decided what you want to develop, then you can start creating the website, or you can start doing the actual code work of that. You can start typing the page, right? So I will show you in an upcoming slide. So these things going to come. Yeah, I will do that one in this slide. Okay, right? So when I come to this particular slide, I'll show you a small demo how we can do that part. Right. So coding is the step where actually once you have decided how you're going to solve the problem, actually solving the problem or actually implementing the solution using a programming language or using the tools and the techniques is what is called the coding step. So now if you go to this particular website once again, for example the ikman.lk website, this has been built now, children. This website has been built. This has been built. So using languages like HTML, CSS, JavaScript in the backend, they would have used PHP. A lot of technologies have been used, and this website has been built. That is the stage that we say as the coding. So once you do that particular coding, so it becomes possible for you people to have the working version of your website. Once you do the coding, you get the working version or the tangible version of your website, or the application will be ready. So that is what is coming under coding. I hope you understand that part. So actually doing that one using HTML, CSS, JavaScript and other technologies. So that part is what is called the coding. Okay, right. Then you have something called the testing. Right. So testing is done majorly for two things. One is, once you have finished building your website, or once you have finished doing the work, you need to make sure that, because why we build a website, here in the concept we have something like what the customer wants or what your client actually needs. In the design you came up how that can be achieved. You came up with a solution. In the coding you actually implemented that solution using a tool such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. Now you have a working version of the website, or you have built a website. Now we need to make sure whether we have built the correct application. Whether we have built the correct application. That means what the customer asked or what the client really wanted, have we built the exact system? In other words, we can say, is the developed system is matching or fulfilling the customer's requirement. This can be done in several versions. For example, you can do something like a user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing means once the website is built, or most of the parts are built, you can give a demo to your client. The person who wanted the website to be built, you ask them to browse the website and tell what their experience is. So feature by feature by feature, they will be checking the website and they will tell you, okay, these things you have built as I requested, and in some places they might give suggestions, or they might give this part how you have implemented is not how I want. I want it to be done in such a way. If you do the testing, then you can come up with those feedback, and of course you can do the improvements and the recommendations which are done by your client. That is possible testing. Further, while you are doing the testing, if there are any hidden errors or bugs in the system, that also can be sorted out and that can be fixed. Actually, you can do the bug fixing as well if you do the testing properly. Okay, so that is about the testing part. Finally is the part which is called the launching. Now, for example, if I am the developer, now earlier I showed you a website. This one of my client website I showed you, right? This website I showed you. Now, before I gave this website to my client, gave this website in the sense how I can give this website, I have to upload this to the World Wide Web, or else after we buy a domain, we have to upload the website. That part I am not discussing now. How to do the web hosting will be properly taught in the web design and development subject. The last part of the lesson is about how to host a website. I will be showing you step by step in the class. That is in the web designing unit I can show you. So launching the website means if I am developing the website, that is going to reside, or it is going to be in my local computer, in my laptop or in my desktop computer. It is going to be in my computer's hard disk. So launching means this files and the resources that you have it in your developer's PC. You are the developer. Those files and other resources, you need to host it, or you need to put it in the World Wide Web, in the boat web server. Now I have taken here as a www.starfurnitureslk.com. So that is the domain that they have. So there is a space for that website is given. In that space, hard disk space, I can actually upload the files. That is called web hosting. Actually .com files, which means .com servers, are physically available in the United States, right? So I am in Sri Lanka, Maunella. So from here I am hosting the files in a remote location. So I am sending my files to the remote server. I am putting my files in the web server. That particular part is known as launching the website. Once you do that one, all around the world, if you share the URL, that means if you give the URL, then everybody in the world can access your website. Now if you want to try in your computer this particular website, you can type www.starfurnitureslk.com. If you type, you will get this website, and you can browse through that and you can find information. Simple as that. Okay, right. Okay, fine. Right. So that is about the launching. And why it is a cycle again, a circle once again, why the circle is coming like that? Because, you know, if you want to do further modifications to your website, what you need to do is you will need to again find out what improvements, what modifications are needed. Once you are very clear with them, you can again find out how it can be done. That means how it can be solved, designing. Then you can implement it, you can code it. Then you can check with the client and show to the client and say, okay, the features that you additionally required I have built. Can you check and give your feedback? Once he or she says, yes, this is what I wanted, then again you can launch that feature, or the modification that you have done, you can make it available in the World Wide Web, right? So this is what we discussed basically. So stages of web development will take place roughly these steps. So when you work in a computer, which means that when you work in a development firm, if you are working in a web designing or web development firm, you will be working on these areas. So once you are a full stack developer means a person who can work in any place of a web application development. It could be the front end development, it could be the designing stage, it could be the coding, it could be back end development, it could be database designing, etc. So if you are a full stack developer, you need to know front end, back end technologies, how to work everything. So if you are hoping to become a UI or a UI UX expert, which you're going to mostly focus on the front end part, then you will be mainly working on concept and design. So you won't be involving in coding and other parts. So it is your matter to come up with a particular concept and come up with a beautiful design, and your coders or your developers will actually turn that your design into a working web program or web site. That is possible. So that is possible because web development field is a vast area. From different people who are having different type of skills can come inside. Okay, right, let's move on. Now if you take a look at it, we have web development technologies are available. Web development technologies, because in a website you need to build different type of features. You want to build different type of features. So starting with the content. Content means, if you take a web page, this particular, let's go to the home page. If you go to the home page, this content need to be built. That means I should be able to put a navigation bar here. Before that, I should be able to put an image. I should put some links here. I should be able to build a navigation bar. I want to have an animated banner here. Then I want to have some what do you call newly arrived or most popular products here. This customer, he is loading these things. I'm not controlling that. I have built it in such a way backend they can control. They can add all the advertisements that they want, right? Then in about us is there, our story is there. Our story is categorized under 4 subheadings. This is how I have structured this. Information has been given by my client, so I have posted it here. So in order to build this content, in order to build the content, I need to use a technology, or I need to use a tool called HTML, because HTML is the basic tool that you are using to build the content. Using HTML, you can tell what a heading is, what a paragraph is, what an image is, what the link is, what is the table, what is the div section, what is the HTML form. All these things you can create with HTML. You can create with HTML. See this part, right? Okay. That doesn't mean when you create an HTML web page, it doesn't look very pretty, or it doesn't look very neat, it doesn't look very beautiful. So if you want to make it beautiful, then you need to use technologies like CSS, Cascading, Style Sheet. In the next slide, I'm going to do a small demo for you, right? I'll show you how it's done. I'll show you these 3 sections. Then it says CSS can be used to make your website look pretty. That means you can change the colors, you can change the sizes, you can change the alignments, and so on and so forth. You can do a lot of things like that. You can make use of CSS to do that one. Since this is the introduction or the induction part about web designing, I am giving overall idea about what it is. In the web design and development program, or in the course, you're going to learn HTML in detail and CSS in detail, and JavaScript will be introduced. It won't be done as a full-fledged course, but the materials will be provided. You can do that part. HTML, CSS we are covering fully, as well as we are covering Bootstrap. Now what is Bootstrap? Now when it comes to Bootstrap, Bootstrap is a front-end framework, or it's a collection of libraries. When you say it's a framework, it automates certain parts. So when you are doing Bootstrap development, you don't much worry about the CSS formattings and the validations things. Now when you want to build something, you simply make use of Bootstrap. Built-in code is there, so you can go to their website, you can drag and drop or copy paste their code, and you're good to go, right? So if you go to getbootstrap.com, this is the official website of Bootstrap. So this is the website, so you can even download the things, or you can go for the docs part, and this is the place where they will be showing all the available things. What you get, how to use them. What I'm interested in, the components section. Let's say you want to build the accordion control, how to build it. So this kind of a component you can build inside a simple area, you can build it, right? So you want to build different kind of buttons, you want to build a animation, so I think some scripts have been disabled so that it's not working, otherwise it will be nicely working. In my website it's working. So you can for example, if you want to have an animation like this, what you can do is simply you can copy this code in. You can just click this button, this code will be copied, and you can paste it into your website, and you can do the customization. Maybe the text you can change, the pictures you can give your own pictures instead of the default pictures. So you are good to go. Then you will be having the animated banner created with no time. Only just copy this and paste the code and do the modifications. When you are developing Bootstrap development, we make use of that. In order to best understand Bootstrap and to use Bootstrap, it is highly recommended that first we learn about HTML, CSS, and a little bit of JavaScript, so you know what is actually happening in the backend, right? All right, let's go back. So that's about this part. And the JavaScript, actually, though you build HTML web pages, or when you use the design, you make it more colorful and make it look pretty, still your website is not capable of doing any processing work. Processing work means if something need to be tested, if you want to do a tiny calculation, you want to do a small validation, you cannot do that one using either HTML or CSS. You need to make use of a language like JavaScript. Right, so the next one is Bootstrap. I talked about that. As well as when you're developing, you can make use of a web browser as well. Now you know why I put these things into two columns, because this is by the time you are developing the front end what you need. Actually, the front end part, when you're doing, this is what is basically needed, and these are the technologies that we use in the back end actually. That is why I put this one to this column. So these things I can demonstrate it now itself. You can understand them even. Once you go to the advanced semesters, you can even learn PHP. I will be teaching you PHP. At our college, we are teaching you PHP. Okay, right. Right. So PHP is a server-side scripting language actually. I don't want to go too deep into that. If necessary, I'll show you later. ASP.NET is for Microsoft. .NET, you can do the backend even using Java. Java servlets are there, you can do that. Ruby is a programming language, you can use that. Or Python, you would have heard about Python. It's a powerful language again, you can use that. These web technologies you can make use of. Just like that, I added the browser here for the front-end development, because the things that you do, whatever you do, you're going to view the website using one of the browsers. Could be Firefox, could be Brave, could be Google Chrome. So once you when you make use of these browsers, in the browsers you can see how the web page is looking. So that is why I was mentioning this one also here. Likewise, when it comes to the backend development or the development part, we need to have a web server like Apache Web Server is there, Internet Information System Server is there, IIS, MySQL database servers, Oracle database server, MariaDB database server. Out of these things we can make use of. We will be learning Apache, MySQL and MariaDB we're going to do. Right? So web backend technologies that will come when you build the backend part, that will be useful, right? Okay, so that is the basic idea about the web development technologies. It's just basically a list, but without just reading the list, I just mentioned it, what is happening or how it is done, right? Okay. Now what we shall do is, we will get a small demo here. You can see that. Why I put this cake here, you can see there's a, first you make a cake, nice icing cake like this. And down here I think you can see the fully icing done on the cake. Looks nice and pretty and ready to be served maybe. So the idea here is HTML serves as the base for you. Basically this is HTML is the cake like, and CSS is like the icing that you put on the cake, because CSS makes the look and feel nice. It makes the appearance nice, right? So but without the main cake here, without having the cake, you can never put the icing. So remember, HTML is very important. Okay. Now HTML, as I told you, is used to build the content. What is a paragraph, what is a heading, what is a image. Likewise we can build. I'm going to do a very tiny demo for you, and just give you a glimpse of an idea. Okay, so next I'm going to show you the CSS part to that, as well as the JavaScript. So step by step we will do that part and just see. So I'm going to demonstrate this to you. Okay, right, so there's a question has come, let me see. Okay, there's a question on Bootstrap, why it is used for. Now Puta, when you're building a website from scratch, you can build an awesome looking website by using HTML, CSS, JavaScript on your own, and you can build an awesome one in which you're going to build everything from scratch. You're going to write your own code. That's called the hard code method. But if you're going to make use of Bootstrap, what's going to happen is it's going to automate the things up to a certain end. This is not going to do anything on the back end, but in the front end. Maybe if you want to quickly create a navigation bar, without Bootstrap you can still create them using JavaScript and CSS. You can build it, but it consumes time for you. But when you go to Bootstrap, Bootstrap will have a predefined menu bar which is associated with CSS as well as with JavaScript. Only matter is you just need to copy paste the code from there and do the customization and do the fine tuning. Then there you go, you have your navigation bar done, right? Now if you take a look at this is another website I did. If you go to ceylonbrushtech.com, these people, they are exporting this coir products to UK and Japan, okay, mainly. So if you take a look at this navigation bar here, this is a basic navigation bar that I have built. Now this is, I have to disable the scripting. So if you click here, the navigation, it's opening up, right? So I built this one using Bootstrap. I have used basically Bootstrap here, the same navigation bar, but I have customized. The animation that you see here is also built using Bootstrap, but I have customized. The fonts I have customized, colors I have customized, everything I have customized according to what I need. But this is built on Bootstrap, because using Bootstrap you can build quickly responsive websites, like which will look and feel very nice on any device that you are working on. So we can make it responsive websites very easily using this one. Very easy to, you can build a responsive website. So that is another reason why we make use of Bootstrap. Okay, so you can go to getbootstrap.com and further read, Puta, so you can get a full understanding, right? Hope I cleared you down. Right, let's do a tiny exercise, or the a small demo, like I'll show you how it can be done. Right, so I'm going to create a small web page, right? So I'm going to use a software called Atom for that. I think I have uninstalled it. Okay. This computer is, I don't use it for much work, right? Okay, Atom is not there with me, right? I will do it with a notepad and I'll show you, right? No problem. You don't need actually like that. Okay, I have editor here. Excuse me. I think you can still see my this one. Font sizes are visible to you, right? Okay, I'm going to save this document because otherwise it won't give much formatting color for that. I will save this document, save this one. let's save it on my desktop, right? So let's call that one as web demo, right? File name, I'm calling this one as page1 .html. I need to save this one as .html, right? So page1 .html. Now since I have saved it, right, so I can use this tool. This is Sublime editor, so that can do up to a certain extent, it can do the code automation for me. I'm not going to explain you in detail what this each part is doing, because it will consume a lot of time, right? Let's say welcome to my website, and there is a section called body. This is HTML language. I'm going to create a heading, right? Let's see which one. I will create, okay, web design demo. Okay, that's interesting. Web design demo, and I want a line across that also, right? Then we will have a paragraph. Auto generation is not possible here, right? So I get that I just generate some sample text. That's what I did. Let's put 2 paragraphs there. I'll paste it once more. Right, so I just save this one once again. I'll just save this one and we will see how it looks. So this is basically a HTML page I created. So in order to see how it looks, right, my desktop folder, web design. Here there's a folder. I'll go inside that folder. You can see the folder is here. I am using dual screen, that's why, so it's jumping into my laptop's screen. So you can see that it's there, the file. I'm going to double click on that because my default browser is Brave browser. It's going to open there. When I double click and when I open that, so it shows the rough contents of my web page. This doesn't look nice. This is not looking nice. What I have done is I have simply built the HTML page. That's all, right? Okay. So to that we will build a few more things, right? So we'll go to the. So I'll build a HTML form there. In the form I can put like. I'm not going to build the whole thing, right? Right, I just have one part, customer name, and we will type contact number. You don't need to understand this, right? What I'm doing. What I have coded down is also HTML. This page has full HTML, nothing else. It has the full HTML out here. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to see how it looks in the web page, right? So you can see here it looks somewhat okay here, but it doesn't look very neat. Okay, right, now I'm going to do the step 2. I can make use of another technology, which is CSS, cascading style sheets. So there are 3 ways that you can make use of cascading style sheets, but I'm going to use one method here. You hear a heading? Hello, what kind of noise do you hear, sons, now? Anyone else can give me a quick update on that, please? They say there is a, she says it's a headache for her. It's a noise that you're hearing. Can you hear noise? I don't get any noise here. One of you, can you confirm, please? Adil?
Yeah.
Anybody? Puta?
No, sir.
No noise, right? So, Dhananjana, you check your audio. Right, okay, fine. Because everything has been properly done and balanced yesterday, so things can't go wrong. So please check. Yeah, people are saying no, only your side it's the problem. Check, please. Right, so here we're going to type style. Right, so inside these 2 tags, I'm going to write something like this. I can write CSS Selectors. So you'll be fully learning how to do these things, right? Let's say in my web page, all the headings I want to change to red color. So I will say color red. Font size, let's say 35px. Let's go there. Let's refresh. You will see. You see there, the color starts to change. Let's say we want to have it center aligned. So you say text dash align center. So we can do that, right? So don't want that. Then I don't like the fonts of this website or web page. So you can say body. So it is like normal fonts that you see in ordinary websites now. I can zoom in, children, for you to see well, right? Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to do much changes, right? So let's say paragraph. Only the color I'm going to change. Let's say I'm going to put royal blue color, like, right. This text is in some other language. That's what it is asking is to install the Google Translator, not necessarily. Right. Then I'm going to change the label. Now see, when I reload this one, this is going to get pushed and this is going to get more space, see. So it is becoming more look and feel, looks okay, right? So I can type further. Now I just want to give you that idea. Using that particular technology, using CSS, we are making control or taking control over the appearance. That's what I'm doing, right? So we'll say input. If you give border radius, so you get rounded borders, right? So tiny borders, right? You can keep on doing like that, like this, right? It's possible for you to do, and even the colors, fonts, everything you can change, right? It's pretty easy to do also. I just want you to get an idea. That's what I am just demonstrating it. Okay, right. Adil has put something like, sir, background color. Puta, can you tell me what is it like? Sir, background color, you say? Puta, Adil? Yeah. We can change it, Puta. I didn't want to show you all the things. I didn't want to change the whole thing, right? So that is why I didn't do it. That's not a good designing color, but I just added it, okay? So to show you, it's possible to do, right? So background color, we can change it. Simple. For any element, you can change it, right? Right, let's keep it commented. Then we will do one thing here. Now I think the designing I can keep on doing, but the time is also running up. So we will limit that up to that point. I'm going to put 2 buttons down here, right? So let's put a button here. So we'll add 2 buttons there. Right. There are 2 buttons. We will need to format them as well. Format here. comes like that. See, it is changing. It is possible to do, right? Okay. You don't have to much worry about the code, right? So I'm just formatting to give you an idea, that's all. So if the mouse pointer comes, the color will change. So it's also easy, right, to do. Anything you can do, right? It's pretty simple to do. I'm just going with very basic colors. I can do very professional looking colors. It will take time, right? So that's what I'm not doing it. Right. So around that you can put a glow effect, like with the box shadow, you can do that. That is possible to do, right? Okay. Right, I hope you got an understanding. Now see, we created the HTML part, so if you don't have the CSS code, if you don't have the CSS code, if you don't have this one, right, let's cut this one and remove it from the page. I can put it back. Okay. There is no CSS in the page, so the page looks like this. Web page, this is the content. In order to create the content, we make use of the HTML. In order to make the page look nice, in order to make the page looks prettier, we are making use of CSS. That looks like this. After adding your necessary CSS, it can give the look and feel to the website nicely. So this is a very tiny example I did within a short time period. Apart from that, what we're going to do next is we're going to make use of JavaScript a little bit as well. Right now, see, let's assume that customer name and contact number are must. We should type them, then we should press the register button. So when you do that, without doing them also, you can try to click on that. So once you do that, it is going to locate the page called reg.php. It is trying to go to that page, which is register.php file. If we are doing the backend, we can do that. So that is not the point here. In the front end, I can do functionality as well. In order to create the content, I use HTML. In order to give it a structure and color and appearance, we used CSS. Now we're going to make use of JavaScript a little bit to have validations done. Or we can add the programming capabilities to this website by giving JavaScript to this, right? So let's see how we can do that. So it's very simple how JavaScript functions, right? So JavaScript is an event-driven program. I'm going to put a small code quickly and I'm going to block this, right? Right, fine. So, so on submit. So I'm going to write a code here. If you can't see that, I'll scroll it up. Function so I want to make sure the name field and the contact number fields are not empty. If they are empty, I'm going to give a comment, say, or a message box, a tiny message box saying they are empty, please fill them. So in order to make sure it is not empty, I'm going to write like this: if get element by id name dot value equals blank. That means name has not been entered properly. So we can say alert, we can say name cannot be empty, right? We can say else if. You will learn these things, okay? How to use if conditions and all. In Java programming, you will learn that. There's some alignment problem here, children. Can't waste time on that. It's demonstrating. Right. Okay, we have typed a tiny piece of JavaScript to the program now. So now we will see, without filling in, can we submit that? So reload the page, right? So I'm going to hit the register button now. Okay, it's working. Something wrong. Let's see how to fix that. Let's try Shift 5. Still submitting, right? And submit. Okay, there's nothing wrong with the code actually. Give me a second, children. I should attend this call. Okay, there is nothing wrong with the code. What I did. Right, let's try that one once again. It should actually block this. just think my browser is giving some trouble, children. It's the same code anyways, so once you hit that it should work. We will double check it anyways. It happens. Type submit, type reset. Unsubmit. Unsubmit. Okay, we have opened the recording, sorry, opened the page in Google Chrome and it is working fine. The problem with the Brave browser is because I have installed the secure version and scripts, everything I have disabled it. That is why it was not working. Now you can see this is in Google Chrome. Now when I run the page, right, we are in the page now and CSS part is working. If I click, it says the code is saying name cannot be empty, then it is not getting submitted. See what happens if you don't have that part. Now here I will delete this part, and if you don't have this piece, that means if you don't have that validation done, now we don't have the validation done. Now I'm reloading the page. This time let's, without filling these two, let's hit the register button. It is simply taking us to the next page. The other too many apps are running, so it's reducing the speed. Just hold, I'll close the other one. We will close the Brave browser, right? Yeah. Now let's try once more. So if I just hit, simply going to the register.php file, which should not happen. We will do here once more, we will do that code. On submit, that means by the time you are trying to submit, we say return. Return means check whether true or false coming from the function validate. So if true value comes, it will resume, it will say everything fine, it will send to the next page. Otherwise it will not let you go to the next page. That is how I have coded. So that functionality has been added. So if you go back and if you try now, let's see. Now when I hit, error message is coming, name cannot be empty, but you are staying in the same page. See, name cannot be empty. So but if you fill this one, let's type John. If you try register now, it says phone number cannot be empty. So you have to properly type a phone number. Let's type. Right, now we'll hit the register button. Now it takes you to the next page. That you can of course receive the information and do the work there, no problem. Okay, right, so that is basically about that. Then we can go back to the discussion, right? Okay, so this is okay, recording is going on. So this is what I just demonstrated to you children now. So in order to build the content what you have in your website, we use HTML to build it. HTML will be taught to you. Most of the tags will be taught to you. CSS is used to make it look prettier, or if you want to make it look nice, if you want to make the arrangements, colors, alignments, background colors, background images, animations, all those things you can do with CSS. And if you want programming capabilities, mainly for validations and all, you can make use of JavaScript. So once you make use of JavaScript, it will fully make the website function. So HTML, CSS, JavaScript is what we mainly make use. So how we are using, just I gave you a idea, that's all, right? Okay, so the next one is I thought of doing a practical with you. So but it took more time to finish this part. Let me skip this and go to the next part, right? Okay, so that's just last slide is this one. So which is tools available for design and development. So what kind of tools can you use them, right? So you can see a little while ago, I was searching for a tool called Atom software. Okay, Atom software, but I didn't find that in my computer. So I used a tool called Sublime Editor. This is the tool that I used. So when you want to do the development work, that means the third step, the coding step, you can make use of one of these tools. Atom is the most preferred one. Usually I use that one. So due to some reason it has got uninstalled. So Atom is the one that I will be teaching you by the time when we are doing the web designing subject to you. It's again free. You can get it downloaded from atom.io website. Get it downloaded from that website and you can use. Aptana Studio is another editor which is from Eclipse. You would have heard about the Eclipse software, which is there for Java programs and all you can create. The superb editor is there. So you can make use of Aptana Studio if you wish. Microsoft VS Code is there. Visual Studio Code is there. That is also free. You can install. That's also powerful. You can make use of it. Sublime Editor I just showed you. Or you can use a fully visiving editor like Dreamweaver. Dreamweaver has facilities like dragging and dropping as well. So quite a long time I haven't used Dreamweaver. So I prefer doing hard coding, and the way usually I build is either Atom or Sublime Editor. That is how the development, these are the tools that you use, right? So one just tool I just showed you is that. So if you just wish, you can go to the thing and you can make a take a look at the So this is the Atom software, how it looks. Atom is very powerful, and Atom is just the interface I'm just showing you. This helps you install thousands of plugins. You can install thousands of plugins, and it is called a hackable editor. Hackable editor. It is widely used, and according to your preference you can use. By default it comes with the dark theme, so it helps you. It doesn't have much eye strain on you. You can use this software as well. This is what we will be using for the development. I just wanted to show you that one, right? So Aptana Studio is also there. So Aptana Studio looks something like this. So I'm just showing you the pictures, that's all. After finishing the session, I will make my slides available to you, or the video also will be available to you. You can make use of this one when you are free. Okay, so you can search when my session is done, you can search the net also, just get an idea. Okay, right? So these are tools which will directly help you develop the things, right? Apart from that, you can make use of certain tools which will be useful in designing. So one I suggest to the students is what is called Pencil Project, which is just 83 megabytes. It's a small file. You can download and install. It is open source and it has a lot of features. Pencil Project, I don't know whether I have installed it. I don't have the software, children. I'll show you. Pencil Project, if you search, they have a website. You can, from the website you can get it, right? So you can very simply design these kind of diagrams. It gives you a very sophisticated list of items. Choosing via this, you can quickly create your websites and wireframes, even mood boards. Why not storyboards? A lot of things you can very nicely and effectively you can create them. So I recommend this one because it's true. Not only that you can create web applications, you can even create mobile applications as well. Design, you can very nicely, you can do them, right? So give it a try. You can download it from Pencil Project website. So you can go to this website. This is the website. It's just 83 megabytes. Because recently only also I just downloaded it, and it is totally free and it's open source. You can just download and you can take a look at it. Right? There are templates also available. You can download and use these things. Okay. Right. So those are available for your designing. Apart from that, there is another tool called DIA Portable. So if you are interested in getting that, you can go to Portable Apps. Right. DIA stands for diagram. Okay, DIA Portable. This is also a diagramming tool. database diagrams, ER diagrams, flow charts, these kind of things very nicely can draw. Why I'm showing these things? Most of the tools that I show are all of them open source and they are free. So you don't have to spend anything on these things. You can simply use them. That is why I'm sharing this one with you. Right, okay. Next. So the other parts are very common. You know, you can use Adobe Photoshop. It's the most advanced and industry standard photo editing software. So you can, if you have the Photoshop software or Illustrator software, you can make use of that and you can design the things very nicely. The templates, the mood boards, all those things you can very beautifully and in a professional manner you can get it done. So for those design part, you can use it. Please remember, designing and development or the coding part are two different steps. In the stages of web development cycle, I just explained that how it is happening. So design comes first, development or the coding part comes next. So tools available for design I showed you and explained you a little bit, as well as tools available for development also I shared. Not only these tools, when you're doing the backend development also you will be using other tools, like you will be using SQL. So when you want to work with MySQL database server and all, you need the software to browse the database. So you need several other tools as well. So these are very main ones that we make use of. All right. So that is the formal part of the presentation that we have today, what I have planned for to discuss with you. So now we can open for discussions now that the time is 11:11. So I started the session around 9:10, like, so exactly I have taken about 2 hours to explain the things. I prefer you people give us feedback or you people ask questions, so I know how far you have understood, how about the lesson and the things. So overall summaries we understood or we discussed about overall what do you mean by web design. We went through some common terminology like internet, world wide web, website, web pages, what type of information are there in the web pages, who will be owning websites. Then web development stages we learned, like concept was there. Then you had what else you had, like you had concept was there. Then you had designing was there. So by the time at the latter part of the slideshow I was explaining you what are the tools that can be used for designing, as well as the coding part was there as the next step. For the coding part, what are the tools that you can use, that is also I mentioned. So design and development or the code part. Next you had the testing part was there. Testing is commonly used to make sure you have built the correct system. You want to have the correct system. You want to make sure you have built the correct system for the customer or the client. So you have to do the testing part. So testing part can be done in different ways. Main testing that you do is, one is the user or the customer acceptance testing, user acceptance testing. So they will check the system and let you know whether they're happy with that, the features that they are having, it's okay and all, so that you can make sure. And further, you can come across any hidden errors or bugs. If there are any errors in the system also, you can fix them as well. So those are the main things that you have there. Right, okay, fine. So do you have any questions, children? I am open for a discussion now, so you can give your feedback. How was the lesson that you understood and things? Right, there was a question coming in. Says lesson was great. There's no doubts for him or questions. Okay, and please remember, this is not the entire web designing world. Okay, just a glimpse of it to get your start or get your idea only. I just did it in such a manner. So hope you found the session useful. Right? There's another question. Let me see what it is. So HTML tags. Okay, about HTML tags, there is a question: what type of tags are used and can you teach us HTML tags? Yes, HTML will be taught in full in the web design unit. So this is the induction part and the introduction and explanation part. I am not going to do that part now. HTML, if you still wish to learn very quickly, and today itself if you like to learn it, you can follow www.w3schools.com. w3schools.com, there is a website. You can go there and you can learn HTML on your own. Within couple of minutes you can get started. Very simple to do that part. Okay, so please you can do that part. So HTML, I can't do it in the induction session. Already the session time has gone. Anyways, in the WDD subject, you're going to get that. Yes, if you have more questions, feel free to talk, right? Switch on the mic and talk. Same question has been posted via WhatsApp. Okay. Any more questions, children? This video will come live on YouTube. I will upload this video to the YouTube. Then I will share the link on the your WhatsApp group as well. So if you have anything that you would like to revise it, you can just go through it, no problem, right? So if you have any doubts, please talk to me quickly because the video is getting lengthier. If you do have doubts, raise your hand or just post them in the chat or just switch on the mic and speak. Okay, there are no doubts. There are no more doubts then. Okay then, children. With this part, we will conclude the session for today, and wish you all the best and hope to see you in the subjects. And let's pray that things will turn to normal and we can have regular sessions at the college. So hope to see you soon, and stay home and stay safe. Have a nice day. See you in another video. Bye.